Welcome everyone. We'll give everyone around a minute to hop on here. Feel free to say hello. I feel like some of you are already doing that already. Hello, Linda. Welcome, welcome. All right, go ahead and get started here. Hello, everyone. Thanks for saying hello in the chat. Welcome. Thank you for joining ServiceNow's ITOM Talks Knowledge Worth Spreading webinar series. I can't believe this is the 7th and final session of this series. It's been a great ITOM series so far, and I look forward to closing out with another great topic today. Today, we'll focus on a ServiceNow Better Together story between ITOM and CSM, a proactive customer service. A few housekeeping items before we get started. Everyone will be muted upon entry just to assist with some bandwidth issues, but we highly encourage you all to participate with us during the webinar. I know a few of you have already said hello in the chat. That's awesome. Feel free to communicate in there. If you do have questions during any portion of the presentation, the demo, anything on the slides, feel free to put those and submit those in the Q&A tab at the bottom of your Zoom webinar. That way we can track who's asking those and you all can actually see the answers once we post and answer those. We also have time allotted at the end to dive deeper into some of those that we don't touch on during the presentation. Now, without further ado, I will pass things off to Ms. Emily Walker.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Cooper. Welcome to today's webinar. Again, my name is Emily Walker. I'm a solutions consultant here at ServiceNow for our ITOM platform, our IT Operations Management platform. And while I am somewhat newer to ServiceNow, I am definitely no stranger to IT. I've spent the past 12 years of my career in IT. I started in the Navy, and then once I got out, kept going with it in the spaces of startups, healthcare, and AI startups. And so I'm really looking forward to this final webinar, like Cooper said, for ITOM and customer service management. So I'll pass it over to Trevor.
Sure thing. Thanks, Emily. So hey, everyone, this is Trevor Cotta. So I'm a customer workflows solution consultant. I, unlike Emily, have been here for, I feel like, a very long time, coming up on 6 years, and it's been quite a ride at ServiceNow. As some of you may be able to see actually some of the old school branding that I still have. But really my background has been all over the place a little bit, but since I've been at ServiceNow, I've supported the entire platform, our entire suite of products, and only in the last couple of years have I really, double click down into customer workflows and really how do we leverage the platform to support our customers' customers or anybody external to their company, partners, suppliers, anybody like that, and really taking all that goodness that is ServiceNow and making it work across the enterprise. So today, I'll be driving our presentation from a presentation or decks perspective, and then Emily and I are going to tag team the demonstration today. So you'll get to see a little bit of both sides of the house, how we can work together and how having everybody on the same platform really can drive a lot of value for our customers. And really today, we're going to go ahead and jump right in. So once again, I'm a technologist, so I'm not very big on slides. So we'll make sure that we get through these pretty quickly and get right to the technology. But really, we do want to set the stage first with just kind of a quick overview of the ITOM and CSM capabilities and why it's so valuable. I think it's important to kind of put it in context of the market and what we're seeing as things continue to evolve in all of our businesses. Like I said, we'll jump into the demo and then we'll talk about a quick Better Together story of a customer we have already leveraging this and the value that they're seeing. And then at the end, we'll save probably about 10-15 minutes for Q&A. Once again, like Cooper said, drop those questions in the chat. And if we can't answer them in the chat, we'll circle back to them at the end and try and get you an answer then. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. So as our obligatory safe harbor slide, anybody who's ever seen a presentation from ServiceNow or probably most other tech companies knows, this is essentially a presentation where we may make comments about future capabilities or roadmaps, and all purchasing decisions need to be based on capabilities that the product provides today. So with that, we've done the due diligence. Let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, so some of you may have seen this before. This is what we call ServiceNow on a page, or the platform of platforms. For those who are relatively new to ServiceNow and still trying to understand how it all works, how it all fits together, this is a great depiction of how we see ourselves in the market and the value that we provide. Really, we start out with providing omni-channel capabilities for our customers, employees, anybody who wants to interact with ServiceNow. We have the ability to let them interact in the way that they want, whether it's from a mobile app or a message, through a browser, through a chat channel like Slack or Teams. We provide all of those connectors so that you can engage with your enterprise and the workflows that you're a part of in any way that you'd like. Now, we layer on top of the enterprise what we call the ServiceNow platform, the Now platform. And really, this is the ability to leverage workflow and capabilities to route work effectively throughout the enterprise. For those of you who know who our founder is, Fred Luddy, about a little over 15, 16 years ago, he founded ServiceNow with the vision of helping regular people be able to route work efficiently throughout the enterprise. And over that time, we've really expanded and made this a robust platform to help you do that. Now, we know that not everything is going to live in ServiceNow. And so we do actually provide a lot of the connectors to those back office systems, right? So you've already made investments in your finance systems, your sales systems, your supply chain systems. We're not trying to replace those. What we're trying to do is make those more efficient, because we realize that more and more work that happens throughout the enterprise involves multiple teams, people, and organizations. And so we need a way to connect those teams together while leveraging the existing investments we've already got. So today we'll actually see a great example of that, how we can leverage ServiceNow to work across departments. But really, this is the true vision for ServiceNow, allowing employees or customers or everyone to engage with us in any way that they would like, and then reducing the friction of those back office systems by connecting everything together so we can manage our processes and workflows efficiently. Right. And from a product perspective per se, right? So what are we actually going to see that, ServiceNow sells? This is how we break out our product or our business unit functions. So we have IT, employee, and customer, as well as creator. And today we'll be looking at the IT workflows, especially operations management and things like event management, CMDB, as well as the customer service side of the house, where we can integrate that with major case, as well as customer portals and things like that. So we'll see a kind of an end-to-end today, but we just wanted to highlight what are the products that you'll be seeing as well as we work through the presentation today. All right, so just setting the stage here real briefly, but we wanted to start with the challenge that we're seeing in the market today and really what ServiceNow is doing to address it. So first and foremost, challenges that we're seeing from managing the operations of a customer lifecycle environment, I think about it as a widening gap, right? If we all think about our day-to-day working lives or our day-to-day personal lives, where we can call an Uber and a car comes right to our door, we can order DoorDash right to our food, right to our house, we can order groceries, we can do all kinds of things now with just a push of a button on our phones. And that's increasing customer expectations enormously, right? Because now we have these great experiences in our day-to-day personal lives. We're bringing those same expectations to the enterprise, right? And so we need to be able to service those same customers in a way that they want to be met, right? And so the thing that makes that even harder is that we're providing more and more complex services. So not only do customers expect more, but it also takes us a lot more to deliver and maintain those services that we're providing to them. So really, we have this significant gap between where our customers are and where we are today, and we're trying to figure out how to bridge that gap. And so what we're seeing really from the folks that we speak with is we're still organized in a way that supported customers 10 or 15 years ago, right? We have different siloed teams and organizations. We've got a finance department and they work on finance stuff. We've got a sales department and they work on sales stuff, right? We have an IT function and they work on IT stuff. But once again, as these services get more and more complex, they require more and more collaboration between departments. And so we see the breakdown of a lot of the work that's happening in these functions when work needs to go between teams and between functions. And that's really where ServiceNow comes in. A lot of that is really contributing to inefficient processes. If you think about managing, something in the CMDB, and then you need to let customer service know. A lot of times you're not creating a ticket for customer service. You're sending them an email or a Slack message. You're actually getting very manual as soon as it leaves the four walls of your department. And really what that's leading to is we can't be proactive. So a lot of the service we're providing to customers, partners, suppliers is all coming in as a reactive service request. So people let us know that there's a problem or know that they need something, but we very well could have been much more proactive, and we'll see what proactive actually means and how we can differentiate ourselves by providing that proactive service. So the financial impacts of this, I've seen this slide a couple of times, and every time I see this number, I think it's way too small, right? It says 75 billion is lost to businesses due to poor customer experience. Right? When I think about the poor customer experiences that I've had and how easy it is to switch, I was thinking, I saw a commercial the other day for Verizon. Verizon said, hey, come join Verizon and we'll pay all of the fees for you to leave your previous company, right? That's basically frictionless. So as soon as you have a problem with your current provider, you can walk next door and they're going to pay all the fees. So the ability to transition between companies and competitors is so low that we really have to start differentiating on this increased customer experience, because we could lose them at any second, right? And we also know that companies in this space are also acknowledging that we know CX is a competitive advantage. We're seeing that Verizon is paying our contract cancellation fees. We need to be doing something to differentiate ourselves. But really, when folks think about it, very few are actually thinking about it from an end-to-end standpoint, right? The services that we're providing, that unique customer experience, we're coming up with these ideas, but we're not actually making the back end aligned to what we want to deliver. So we still struggle to get that service provided and that high level experience provided to our customers. And really what that ends up doing is when we look at the folks who are actually, that 7% are actually focused on it, right? We see 35% increases in terms of customer retention rate, right? And when it's frictionless to move, it's incredibly important to be focused on that retention rate and how we can continue to drive new services and revenues from those companies or people. Also, they grow faster, right? They have decreased issues that they're seeing across the company because the systems are connected together and they're able to manage things collectively, right? And we're even seeing this when you think about how fast these companies are growing and how efficient they are. We see these unicorns, whether they're Silicon Valley unicorns or these companies that are growing because they're providing this incredible service that never existed before, right? And so they're providing something that's so seamless that everyone flocks to those companies. So what we need to be doing is focusing on how do we drive those same services. And a lot of this really starts to happen with the partnership between customer service and IT. Right? As we get more technical and as we have more backbone that IT or technology teams are supporting, we really do have a huge opportunity by putting them on the same platform to service those customers. So if we take a quick walk down memory lane here, so if we walk back 15 years or so, the original customer service model was, I have an issue, I call a person, they solve my issue, right? We started to, about a decade ago, maybe a little bit more, started to see things like omni-channel. So not only could you call in, but you could email in, or you could chat with someone, but it still always went to a human, right? And so as we evolved, we said, hey, we need to start tracking this. It's not just, someone picks up the phone and helps. Let's see what the volume of work is. Let's see what kinds of requests are coming in. How do we start to figure out where our issues are and then drive improvement? That's where case management came in. As we've continued to evolve, though, we've realized it's not just tracking of the work that matters, but the collaboration between the teams. And this is where we talk about customer service or supplier management having to work with teams like IT and operations. Really, so being able to collaborate across is where that case management capability really shines. But we still notice that there's a huge gap here between how the middle office teams themselves do their work on a day-to-day basis and how someone like a customer service agent would actually do theirs, right? They don't live on the same platform. And so this arrow right here invariably seems to turn into a Teams message or an email or a phone call or a text to your favorite ID help desk technician, right? We all know that that works in a way, but it's not scalable in any way, right? And it's still affecting our customers in a really poor way. And finally, continuing to walk down the timeline here, we're starting to see things in our ecosystem that is things like IoT devices, right? So now we have devices out in the world. We have a smart fridge that's phoning home and telling the parent company that it's not cold enough, right? Well, what do we do with that, right? A lot of times that phone homes to a certain IoT team that's disconnected from customer service. So we need a way to embed and manage all that data and then provide that proactive service that, you know, all this data allows us to provide. The other thing that you're seeing here with this dotted line is that because we have a connected environment, a lot of this work doesn't even need to go to a human in the middle. A lot of it can go directly to those back office or middle office teams to support their customers, whether it's a IoT device or it's a hosted service that you provide to your customers, or whether it's just a very technical device or product that you're selling that you need to make sure you maintain configuration information for. So a lot of things that are happening now are no longer sitting in that four walls of customer service and have that human in between. We need to be able to have the entire organization and ecosystem focused on our customer success. All right. And then from, you know, really an outcome or capability standpoint, what are we driving here from ServiceNow's perspective, right? We talked about the market and the timeline, but what are we doing from a ServiceNow perspective to make this happen? And number one, first and foremost, ServiceNow is a workflow platform. We were built as a workflow platform. We will always be a workflow platform. That is our bread and butter. And that's what we're providing here, right? That we're breaking down those silos between teams and organizations to allow work to flow from customer service to IT to site reliability to engineering without having to leave and go into 6 different tools or manual communication channels. We're also, because we have that IT backbone, we have that CMDB, we have that rich event management data, we can actually see anomalies in the data and start to predict when issues are going to happen. But not only predict and prevent, but notify. So now we can actually say, not only do we know that there's an issue and we're operating in an extremely efficient way and solving those problems, we're actually building trust with our customers by letting them know, hey, we found this and we already fixed it. I mean, I'll tell you, I've had some pretty poor experiences from when a company goes down or has an issue with a service and I have to call in and they didn't even know what was going on until I called. That's a frustrating experience. If they call me or they send me a text, hey, we've noticed something, hey, your internet's out, that builds a lot of trust with me, and I think it does with many people. And finally, because it's on the same platform, we can optimize those operations, right? So how do we start to take those workflows that we built and automate steps? How do we auto patch or auto provision? How do we auto notify different people, right? So we can take those workflows that we have and then continue to streamline and streamline and streamline until it becomes a very, very efficient process. So we'll see in the demo today, and I promise this is, I think, 1 or 2 more slides, and then we're going to jump right in. But from an outcome standpoint today, what we'll see in the demo with CSM and ITOM is we're going to see our NOC operations persona, David Liu. That's going to be Emily/David. He's going to be working on an issue that he finds, and we're going to notify customer service. Customer service is going to see what's going on. We're going to create a major case, and we'll talk about what that is when we get there, as well as what the customer sees and how we're proactively notifying the customer. And really those outcomes based on that kind of flow is you're going to see we're able to reduce inbound call volume. We're able to provide a higher and faster level of service and resolve quicker. And really we're going to provide that high level of experience or CSAT improvements that drive trust and loyalty and then future business as well. So those are kind of some of the outcomes that we'll see today. And then I do want to pass it off to Emily now to talk through some of the core ITOM components that we'll be covering as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Trevor. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to break down ITOM just for a moment before we jump into the demo. And if you've been in any of our other ITOM Talks webinar series this fall, you have a fairly good understanding of ITOM. But for the folks on the call that are more focused on that CSM side, this will kind of help set the stage of what ITOM, how it breaks down. So with ITOM, we have 3 different parts. I've only shown 2 here. The third one that we're missing is optimization, and that's really your cloud provisioning and governance. So today we're staying focused on ITOM visibility and ITOM health. And when we pair these 2, we're really able to gain that visibility across our full infrastructure of the applications that we have and the services from an end-to-end view of what they provide, not only internally, but to our customers. And we're also able to maintain that service health. So let's talk about visibility just for a moment. Visibility consists of discovery and service mapping. And this goes out and gives us that integrated real-time visibility of what we have in our network, whether it's on-prem or cloud or serverless. And it populates our CMDB with all of these devices and applications that it finds. So we call these configuration items. And it populates the CMDB, which is part of the core platform. And then when we pair that on with ITOM Health, this includes event management and health log analytics. And this helps us to track and maintain the end-to-end health of those services in our organization. So when we pair visibility and health together, that falls under ITOM Pro. And so today, when we show the demo, we're mainly going to be in event management, which is part of health, and that is populated, all the information is populated through visibility. So with that, I think we can go ahead and get started on the demo. Let me share my screen. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm also going to stop my video just for sake of bandwidth for right now. Trevor, are you good to see that?
Yep, you look great.
Okay, great. So what we're looking at first is our instance. And to get to the operator workspace, we would just type in operator workspace, and it's right here under event management. For the demo, I've gone ahead and loaded this. And so I'm logged in as David Liu. I'm David Liu today, and I want to see what services are down in our environment, and are they potentially impacting our customer service team and our end customers. So from this first view right here, what I'm seeing is, I'm seeing that we have a breakdown of different alerts. We have critical alerts, we have major alerts, minor warnings, and then things that are up. So we're really able to get a good view of all of our services. And we've also named these applications and services to what makes the most sense for our company. So the one that we're looking at today, we're looking at rewards processing. And from right here, from this view, we can see the business criticality, we can see the severity and who it's owned by. We can also see, is this service, rewards processing, is it being affected by anything else? Are there any other critical alerts that are impacting this as well? And so we can see that with this, we have 2 critical, 1 major, and 2 warnings. We also have an option to go right into the service details to really see what's happening. Or alternatively, we can go into our service map. So for right now, we're going to click on service map, and this brings you to service map. I already had it loaded up just to keep our demo flowing for today. So when you're looking at this, you're looking at the topology of the end-to-end service for rewards processing. We have our entry point, and as soon as I click on each of these, if you look on the right-hand side here, you see the properties for each of these. So we have an entry point of a URL, and it runs through a proxy to a Tomcat server to a SQL database. And so we can see with these 2 highlighted blue and red, these are where our issues are today. Let's take a look. We're going to click on this Postgres server, and we're going to look here, and we have lots of information that's being pulled from this. And all of this information is populated via discovery. And right down here, we're looking at this CI type. So we know that this is an issue on a Linux server. It's also showing us which table this CI is being added to. So this is in our CMDB, our Linux server table. From this view, we are also able to click right here, and this gives us a list of related items. So this is what we're seeing. We're seeing grouping of alerts here. Let's go back. So the other part, when we're in this main page, we can also click on primary alerts or service details. This will take us to the same spot, which is the details page of this service. And so right away, we're looking at related alerts. And what it's doing, it's trying to sift through all these alerts that we're getting and correlate which ones match together, and then give us one alert for all that group of alerts. So let's click into this one. And we get quite a bit of information here. Let me close out of these 2 notifications. So right here, we're seeing that the service mapping for rewards processing, we're seeing 4 different alerts in this group. We're seeing this first one showing that we're less than 20% disk space free, and it's breached a threshold here. So that's one of our alerts. We're also looking at transaction processing times exceeding a certain amount of time and high wait times detected on that database. We're also looking at probable root causes. And then up here, we're able to see all of the configuration items in our CMDB that are impacted by this service. So our Linux server, our Tom Workat, our SQL database, all of these items live in our CMDB. The last part right here in this main view, we're able to see our impacted services. So right now, rewards processing is also affecting our delivery processing service and our Linux servers. And then over here to the right, these are actions that we can actually run. And we'll do this later. We're not going to do this right now because we want to see what this, once we create this case for this alert, we want to see what this looks like from the customer side. So right now, we're not going to run any of these actions. What we are going to do is we want to see what is rewards processing, who is affecting. So we want to first go and we want to click on refresh install base. And we want to do this because as we've been in here, maybe something has changed. Maybe something else has added to the outage and caused another customer to go down. So we wanted to refresh our install base. And this gives us a list of every customer that we have that is affected by this process being out. And so install base items are really these configuration items that have been made accessible to customers. So for example, a SaaS product, the install base refers to the application service of this particular configuration item. So when we wanted to see which customers were being affected, we just clicked affected install base items. And we can see that we have 4 here. The next part that we want to do is we want to create a case for Trevor and his team to see. So we're going to click on create case, and we're going to add in a short description and some work notes. And we're going to submit this over to the customer service team. And we're going to see that a case has been created. And so while David and I work through this issue and start remediation, we'll pass it over to Trevor and his team.
Thanks, Emily. And before you close your screen here, I'll take over in a second. I did want to highlight one thing, right? So we see this screen here, or this view here that says affected install base item, right? It seems like a simple list of customers, no big deal. But this is the true power of ServiceNow and having CSM and IT on the same platform, right? The way this typically works is we maintain a CMDB, we know what services we provide, and when a service goes down, we go ahead and try and remediate as much as possible, but we don't necessarily know who is all impacted. We're just trying to make sure everything is up and running. The fact that we have a connection between our CMDB and our actual customers or suppliers, partners, at ServiceNow, we provide demo instances to our partner ecosystem. We have the same connection point with them to where that we can say, hey, this service is down and now it's impacting these people. And what that allows us to do, and what we'll see next, is how we can actually take action on that to not only remediate the issue, but provide a high level of visibility and support to those who are impacted. And we'll see how that builds trust with our customers as well. So appreciate that, Emily. Continue the hard work back there, and we'll go ahead and take a look at what's going on the customer service side of the house.
Thanks, Trevor.
All right. Emily, just to confirm, you can see my screen okay?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So logging back in here, right? So today we're logged in as Grace Hopper, and Grace Hopper is a senior member of our customer service team, right? So we are Solana, by the way, that's the company we work for, and we provide a technical service to our customers. And so Grace works within our customer service team as like a L2, L3. And for basically what that means is there's the front line that takes the initial phone calls or text messages or chats that are simple questions. And then our more and more technical resources to support customers sit farther up the chain, right? So Grace is one of those senior members who takes the most complex cases. And what we'll see actually is Grace has a dashboard built just for her, right? She can see what's high priority in her world, so she can work on the most high priority cases. She can see what's going on with her team if she needs to work on anything with them. And she has her key KPIs around CSAT and case backlog as well. That all comes out of the box with ServiceNow's agent workspace. Now, Grace has also been notified that there is a major case that was created. So we'll go ahead and refresh here. And we'll notice that we have about 5 cases that say exactly what Emily typed in: service impacting events for rewards. Now, this isn't a glitch. This is actually very much on purpose. And we'll talk about where all these came from in just a second. But let's go ahead and open up this parent case for all of these. So as I pull this up, you'll notice the first notification we get is this blue thing here that says this is a major case. So what is a major case? A major case is essentially a way to group cases related to a similar issue together and then provide one parent case to manage the work associated with that. For those of you on the IT side, you may know this as major incident management. It's a very, very similar concept. A lot of our company or customers who use both CSM and ITSM or ITOM connect those two together, right? So the major incident is the parent issue in IT. The major case is a major record or major issue on the customer side. Right? The reason why we separate them out is because we want to have a customer-focused record to manage pushing communication and updates to those customers. The other great thing about major case is that it allows you to centralize all the work under a single record, if you will. Right? If we think about how we would do this if we didn't have major case, you'd probably get 7, 8, 10 phone calls from Boxio and Avnet and every other company that's been impacted by this service. And they're going to basically all get routed to different agents. So now you've got 6 or 7 agents all trying to work on the same problem, and none of them know what's going on, right? So if we're able to provide this parent case, we're able to surface it within the actual workspace. We actually have the ability to use machine learning and surface that right here in the agent assist panel, so that when an agent logs in, it says there's a possible major case that you would want to associate this with. We can continue to centralize that work so that our agents they're not doing duplicate work, if you will, right? So Grace, as a senior member, gets assigned the major case. She can look through just the high level information about where it came from. We'll notice that it's also a proactive case. And so that means that our IT team was able to find this issue proactively and notify us. We'll see in the future if there's any sort of attention that's needed, we're the blocker, we'll go ahead and let us know that. And this is where we capture most of our just basic data about the case itself. We'll also notice that we have in our activity stream a full audit trail of what's going on, and we'll see this update throughout the demo, right? So we've actually seen that David Lewis let us know it's affecting multiple customers, that they've created an incident to start working on this in IT, and that they've actually created this proactive case. All of this happened without having any phone calls or emails or manual connection points between the two. All of this said, hey, customer impact, one case, boom, create all the cases associated with it and create a major case. And what I mean by that is those 5 cases we saw earlier, we've actually gone ahead and created 5 or 4 cases for the 4 accounts that were impacted. So Avid, Advanced Supercomputing, Diagonal, and Boxio are the 4 companies that are relying on this service, or at least the CIs that make up this service. And so we proactively created a case for each of them, so they have their own way of getting updates and information pushed to them as we have that available. We also do have the affected install base item here as well. So this is where we can get that connection point to the CMDB if we'd like. We can, we provide it on the IT side, we provide it on the customer service side. It allows us to have, once again, that conduit between IT and customer, or IT and external party, so that we can continue to share data back and forth. Now, the other thing that we get with this is the ability to look in even deeper. So I mentioned Grace is a senior member of our customer service team. So she's a little bit more technical. So she may actually want to look into the alert itself. So we give her the ability to pull up the alert. She can understand, we have the notifications about the install base. She can also see if there's any sort of description that would help her communicate better. Oh, it looks like it's associated with a Linux server or a Linux node. Maybe that's relevant for her. right? So she can look into all of this information and see across the platform rather than having to wait till a war room is spun up or somebody sends her a message on Teams. All of this stuff it's all connected seamlessly. And so she doesn't need to be bugging IT while they're frantically trying to solve the problem, right? Everyone's been there when you're you're doing the most important work right now. And then someone keeps pinging you and says, hey, is there an update? Hey, is there an update? It's great to provide this right at their fingertips. The other thing that Grace can see, once again, is that incident. Same platform, same data model, same code base allows us to share this information seamlessly across, and we can see information about critical alerts. She can even see the log text that's been associated with this. So she has complete visibility across the platform and is able to provide information as needed to the customers. Now, I've walked you through what the case form and the major case looks like and what data is visible to Grace, but you'll notice she actually hasn't done anything yet, mainly because she hasn't needed to. IT noticed an issue, we created a case, we let Grace know, hey, there's an issue. You don't need to do anything, but we'll let you know when you do. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening on the actual customer side. So scan over here. And you'll notice we now have a portal view here, very simple out of the box portal for ServiceNow. And you'll notice we're logged in here as Julie Lewis. Julie is a customer of ours at Boxio. And Julie is one of our VIP customers, right? So she is somebody who's the point person for Boxio between the relationship between Solana and Boxio. And she manages this the relationship, and this is how she gets service, right? So we're going to reload this here and see the updates that she's got on her screen. So this is leveraging ServiceNow's customer service portal, right? So we can give her visibility into the cases that she has. If there's any projects or products that she's subscribed to. This is things like knowledge base and communities. So lots of front-end capabilities that we provide to our customers to help them self-serve. We have virtual agents. We're not going to focus on any of that today, but just wanted to provide, this is Julie's experience and how she gets information. The one thing that we will talk about from Julie's perspective today is because she has noticed, hey, I can't log in to my Boxio prod service, right? My rewards processing service. I need to go see what's going on. And Julie's been trained because in the past, we provided her lots of information through the portal and through notifications that she doesn't need to pick up the phone and frantically call in. The first thing that she should do is go to the portal and see if there's any issues that we've identified. And sure enough, right here, we've got a banner that's popped up. And this, once again, was not manually created. As soon as our IT teams created that case and said, hey, we have customer impact, we went ahead and posted this on all of their portals that said, hey, you are subscribed to this service and we're experiencing an outage and we're working on it. And what does that do? Well, one, it reduces call volume because nobody has to call in and say, hey, what's going on? Two, it also improves trust. Right? I don't know if any of you have ever had the experience of your internet going out at home and you spend 10 minutes resetting the router, resetting the modem, restarting your computer, all to figure out the internet's still not working. You finally call the internet service provider that you have and they say, oh, let me transfer you to another team. And that team says, oh, it looks like there's an outage in your area. Well, I mean, I really would have appreciated a text message or a phone call or something letting me know before I spent 45 minutes troubleshooting all my devices, right? So that's just a silly example, or less silly, depending on how dependent you are on your internet, of how when we provide proactive notification and information, we're building trust. It's not the ideal outcome. We don't want to have outages, but when we do, we need to be transparent about it. So when we look at this, we can actually look at the actual install base item itself. And this provides a deeper level of visibility into what's actually going on with this service, right? So we can see the name of the service. We can see any issues that we've ever recorded against it, but we can also see what the uptime has been over time. Now, this is a business decision, whether or not you would want to provide this to your customers or not, but the capabilities are there. The nice part is because this all lives on the same platform, we can take that rich CMDB and event management data and show this back to our customers, right? If we have, a 99.999% uptime, we probably want to display that. We want to display it in a, very forward and transparent way. Once again, building trust and showing our customers that we're doing everything we can to make sure that their businesses aren't impacted by us. Right? The other thing that we can see is we created a case for each one of those companies. And this is Julie's specific case about this outage, right? So we've created this case for her. She can see that there is an impact to rewards processing. And if she needs an update, is there any update on this? She can simply add that comment here, and then Grace in the back end will get updated. Hey, the customer is asking. I'm going to respond to them and give her an update about the Linux server or what have you. And it allows her to have that, once again, communication channel with our support teams. And this is, once again, this is a simple view, but if we think about how a lot of this is done today, it's done in email, it's done, whether phone calls or, text messages, what have you. It's essential to drive our customers to a place where we can track all of our communication and work in one place. All right. So I will remind everyone that we still actually haven't done any work to solve this, right? We've just made sure that IT, the hero of the day, has identified an issue. They created one case, and then we notified everyone. We notified customer service, the appropriate person. We had notified our customers. We were able to extrapolate who's impacted and push notifications directly to their experience. And so now let's go back to Grace and see what's actually happening on the back end with our IT teams, right? So Grace, once again, can see visibility into the case, the alert, the incident. But let's go ahead and see if Emily and David have been able to troubleshoot any of this work. So Emily, David, how's it going back there?
Yeah, hi Trevor, hey Grace, it's going great. We were actually able to find that the probable root cause was that Linux server with the disk space being under 20%. So right now, we're going to run remediation to attach that log file to the incident. And you'll be able to see that in just a minute when you look in your activity stream for that incident that you have pulled up. And the second thing we're going to do once that gets done is we're going to run remediation by expanding that disk space. And if everybody remembers, we saw that on the right-hand panel in our actions. So we're able to do everything within our operator workspace. And the last thing that we're going to do once that disk space is expanded, we're going to remove the log files. And we do all this through Flow Designer, which is built into our Now platform. It's a feature for processing automation in a single environment. And so it really helps our process owners use natural language to automate different things, such as tasks, approvals, notifications, remediations. So that's what we're using here on the back end. And it looks like we should be good.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Emily, David, you guys are awesome. And one more note on Flow Designer, right? It's an incredibly powerful solution, right? It's almost the backbone of ServiceNow. And it does things like Emily mentioned, simple approvals or rerouting a case or an incident to the appropriate department. But it's also an incredible solution for automation, and especially IT automation, right? So we can actually use it to reset technical services or apply patches. Is an example on, my working world. I actually demo ServiceNow a lot, surprisingly. And one of the ways that we actually get new environments to demo is we kick off a request that's backed up by Flow Designer and Integration Hub, which are, two hand-in-hand capabilities, to go out and actually provision a brand new ServiceNow instance, provide me credentials in my email in about, 45 minutes. And all that happens without ever going to a person. Right. So it's not just, hey, we can add an approval. It's, hey, we can do a lot of automation within our infrastructure and our technical services to make sure that we're maintaining uptime, providing fixes, all that great stuff. Now, let's take a look at what we actually saw here on the screen. So I think if many of you were following along, you saw a lot of the live updates of as Emily started to resolve the issue. So we noticed that we updated our assignment group and we've moved it to resolved. And really we can see all of the entire audit trail for that incident of what happened, right? So we allocated 20% more disk space. We expanded it by 40 gigs. We were able to also delete some files and then resolve our incident. We can also see that the alert itself, we come back to the details, is also closed, right? So we can see what files were deleted. Once again, we can see the entire audit trail of what happened against this alert and that it's also been closed. And now you'll actually see on the customer service side, not only has the outage been updated and the outage has been closed, but we've also now flagged needs attention, right? So this is where Grace finally gets to do some work, right? So Grace gets notified that, all right, our Rockstar IT team has actually gone through and remediated the issue in a very short period of time. We need to let our customers know, right? So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna actually apply a template here, and we're gonna say, okay, well, we need to make sure that we're templatizing how we resolve this. So instead of having to type in 6 things, here's what happened, here's what I fixed, we've got our resolve by incident template that says, hey, we resolved this with an incident, and we have the attached incident on the record, and we've now moved this to resolved, right? So make it quick and easy for Grace to update the resolution information. And then what she can do is that gets, once again, that gets posted to all of the child cases so they know what's going on. And then she's going to close the case itself. Right. And so what we actually do here, once we've closed the case, we've closed the major case, we're now actually going to go and close all of the child cases as well. So you'll notice that we have our state field here still listed as new. When we reload this, we should see it move to closed here. Hopefully it takes, there it goes. So all of our cases have now moved to closed. So, and once again, the reason why this is so powerful is because if we think about the other side of how we're doing this today, if we find an issue or IT finds an issue and they work to fix it, but we don't have them all connected together, we're still going to be basically playing whack-a-mole with all of these cases that are sitting on these agents' desktop where they don't know it's been resolved. They don't have the information. It's not connected together. We don't have it all in sync. And so we're not able to actually provide that efficiency to our agents to, once again, stop working on things that somebody else has already solved. So once again, keeping it all connected together, major case really allows for that efficient process, and it provides a lot of accelerated answers to our customers as well. And with that, I mean, I'll take probably one final step back and say, within our demo today, I think we saw quite a range of capabilities from not only ITOM and CMDB event management, identifying an issue. We saw how we connected that to a customer and a customer's environment and what they've purchased from us. We saw how we notified customer service of what's going on and said, hey, we'll update you when we're done. And we've also pushed all this information to our customers to say, hey, we've identified something, we're working on it. And once we've resolved it, we then pushed automation all the way through the entire process, from expanding disk space was an automation to automating the closure of the cases and notifications to our customers. So really, in a very short period of time, I think we covered a broad range and a broad use case. And really, this can be expanded to meet many more. With that, I'm going to transition back to our slides here, and I think Emily is going to bring us home.
I am, yeah. Let's take a couple minutes and discuss a real world example of how ITOM and CSM worked for one of our customers. So the customer that we're talking about right now is Digital River. They're a high-tech company based out of Minneapolis with around 1,300 employees. And so a lot of the things that we have been talking about throughout this presentation, they were challenged with too. So their customers had a lack of visibility when they would try to create cases. They wouldn't know what the status was on their orders. And also the company really wanted a way to make that operational data more accessible and available to get that top-down service mapping view of all their infrastructure and services. And they needed a way to provide consistent and predictable support services for their global colleagues and customers. And they wanted this to be 24/7. So with the help of ITOM and CSM, they were able to implement new processes to optimize efficiency. And this included stating up that 24/7 support desk and replacing email with case management and a ticketing system within ServiceNow. So exactly what we saw today. They also aligned their internal teams and connected ServiceNow solutions to be able to provide incident, change, and event monitoring and pull all of this data into their public facing websites and dashboards for their customers. So with this, they were able to see that 10,000 reduction in email volume thanks to our implementation. I also will share, I remember, being on the IT side of the house, what we did today in the demo, if this were a real outage that, I had experienced, it would have taken hours, especially in the systems that we were in, manually closing all of those child cases. So it's really great to see just how powerful the technology can be when we're on one platform and when we pair ITOM and CSM together. So with that, let's jump to the next slide. We hope that in the past 45 minutes that you've been able to see the true value of what happens when we're able to pair these together. So things like reduced downtime, reduced time to resolution, and then just that overall greater visibility for our internal employees, from the operations to our customer service teams, and then even our own customers. So with that, we will open it up for questions. I haven't seen any come in the chat just yet.
All right.
I mean, as those start flooding in, I don't want to put you on the spot, Emily or Trevor, but are there common questions that come up with the ITOM and CSM Better Together discussion?
I could take that one if you would like. I don't know. Ask ourselves questions. Yeah, no problem. A lot of folks want to understand, how do I make this real and where do I start? Right. That's the one thing I hear a lot is we have investments in IT and, we've got maybe a pretty clean CMDB and we're starting to do some event management and we're really starting to see where our customers or our external services might be impacted. But how do we get that next team on board? How do we talk to customer service about this? And a lot of that really starts with kind of who their main touch point or contact is within that customer service team. Sometimes it's an enterprise architect that's working to solution across teams. And sometimes it's somebody like Grace Hopper, like when we saw in our demo today. Grace was that kind of more technical L2, L3 support technician. And those are the folks who you would want to be approaching with this story, right? The folks who are constantly being pinged on Slack or Teams, and they're really kind of that connection point between the two. They seem to ride the fence. And that's really where we start when we start to work with folks. It's not usually, hey, we're going to replace your entire call center, platform and solution. It's let's find the folks that actually need, the visibility into IT, and let's help them start to grow and get their own space on ServiceNow so that they can manage their work effectively as well. That's what I get a lot of times.
Awesome. Love that question to yourself. We did have one pop in the chat here. Looks like it's more general. I don't know if you caught that one. Is there likely a date when we will see a full page dark mode for the Now platform?
I might be able to, I can't give you an exact date. It is coming, let's put it that way. I have been on some of the pre-release demos that we have from our product teams. And there is definitely new UI, UX. I don't want to say pretty significant, but we're making some really significant strides forward, especially in UI Builder, as well as kind of an internal project team that's been around for about a year or two that's completely revamping UI again. And so I think we'll see that probably tail end of 22 or early 23. Where we'll have a even more enhanced and focused experience. And part of that will be the dark mode. So it's not a 2021 capability, given that we only have about 2 months left in 2021 anyways, but it's not a 5 years from now kind of thing either. It's definitely, I think tail end of 22 or early 23.
Awesome. Well, I don't see any more questions. So I would just like to first thank our presenters today, Emily and Trevor. Amazing job, you two. Second, I wanted to thank you all again for participating with us today and learning a little bit about the ITOM and CSM Better Together story. As mentioned, this is unfortunately the final session in this 7-part webinar series. I just dropped the link in the chat for those that wish to watch the recordings of the previous sessions. We have them all provided on demand for you all to access. Also, thank you again for attending. I will be sending out an email that contains a $25 Uber Eats gift card. So please enjoy your next meal on us. Thank you again for joining us today. Included as well in that email, there will be a link directing you to an event landing page. So this page contains a lot of resources that dive a little bit further into the topics that were discussed on the 7-part webinar series. So please be sure to check that out. You can see slide decks, recordings, and kind of go at your own pace on that material. We really appreciate you all taking the time with us today. Please reach out to myself if you have any questions. Emily and Trevor, I'll let you sign off as well, but have a wonderful rest of your day and week, everybody, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
All right,
it.
cheers.